So I'll have a look at probability. I'll just mark my page so I don't go over it. Okay, so probability. So probability can be thought of as the number, we can always write it down, it's probably of an event. It's the number of the ways an event can happen out of the total number of events possible. And this can apply to many, many problems. So we'll start with a classic sort of problems of balls in a bag. So we've got 3 green, 2 red, and 1 white. The question is, what is the probability that we get a green? Well, there are 3 greens, so the number of ways our event can happen is by getting any one of those 3 greens. But there are 6 balls altogether. So the probability then of getting a green is 3 out of 6. The question was, what's the probability that we get a red or a white? Well, you'll see this will equal the probability of getting a red plus the probability of getting a white. But we'll come to that. The probability that we get a red or a white, well, there are 2 reds and there are 1 white out of 6 altogether, which is 3 out of 6. And that's the fact because we were allowed to have either red or white, so the number of ways our event could happen could be either one of the 2 reds or the white from the 6 balls altogether. Now let's just look at this rule that I've just mentioned, probability of red plus probability of white. The probability of getting a red was 2 from 6, the probability of getting a white was 1 from 6. And if you can remember your fractions, you'll know that when you add fractions where the denominator is the same, keep the denominator as it is and add the top 2 numbers together. So we can see then that the probability of getting a red or a white is the same as the probability of a red plus the probability of a white. Again, this rule here is very, very important. If you can remember that and apply it, you'll get most questions to do with probability correct, I hope. So we'll have a look at another question. So this time the probabilities, just make sure that you can see what I'm writing. I'll come down a bit. So we've got some possibilities and we've got some probabilities written as well. So I'll quickly write this in. So we've got the value that an event can take. Let's say there's 5 possibilities, being 1 to 5, and the probability of being one of those. 0.2, 0.3, 0.1, 0.1, and x. Now, if we want to find x, we use the fact, okay, so we'll just write down we're finding x. Use the fact that all the probabilities must come to 1. If we can only be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, then it's certain we'll get one of them. So those probabilities will add up to 1. So we'll write them down. 0.2 plus 0.3, 0.1 plus 0.1 plus x equals 1. So if I add up the decimals, 0.2 and 0.3 is 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.7 plus x equals 1. So we should see that x will equal 0.3. Just think, what do you add to 0.7 to get 1? And the answer is 0.3. Now we might get the question, what's the probability that x is greater than 3? Now the probability that x is greater than 3 could happen if x was 4, or it could happen if x was 5. So from what we saw earlier, the OR rule means we have to add. The probability we get 4 is 0.1. The probability we get 5, or we just worked that out, is 0.3. So the probability that x is greater than 3 is 0.1 plus 0.3 is 0.4. So there's a couple of probability examples that we'd get early on in our exam paper.